If you are planning on camping in Bryce Canyon National Park, this video could not have come at a better time. Bryce Canyon just changed how they're handling their camping reservations, and I am here to walk you through the entire process. My name is Ash. I'm a former park ranger and the founder of Dirt in My Shoes. I am also a Utah native, and so you will find me in Bryce Canyon National Park all the time, at least yearly, but sometimes even more than that. And I just love this park. I'm excited for you to visit, and I'm excited to help you get the camping reservations that you need. So let's jump in and talk about everything you need to know to camp in Bryce Canyon. First things first, this video is only covering the 2 front country campgrounds that are in Bryce Canyon National Park. I am not talking about any backcountry camping, anything that you need permits for, nothing like that. We're talking about the campgrounds that you can drive to that are just along the main road there. So let's jump in and talk about some of the regulations that you'll want to know for camping in Bryce Canyon. This is the boring stuff, so I'm just going to breeze through this, but just so you know, you have a 14-day stay limit during the summer. You can have a maximum of 6 people in your campsite. And if your family is bigger than that, like if you have an immediate family, parents and kids or whatever that is bigger than 6, that's okay. But what you can't do is have like multiple families, extended family, friends, anything like that, over 6 people staying in a campsite. So if that's your situation, then you'll need to either book a few campsites or look into getting a group campsite. That 6 people max is enforced, so you'll want to be aware of that. The other thing is you cannot hang anything from the trees in the campgrounds in Bryce Canyon, so no hammocks, clotheslines, nothing like that. So keep that in mind as well. You'll also want to be aware that there are showers at the nearby general store, but not in the actual campgrounds themselves. So if you want to take a shower, you'll need to go over to the general store and pay for those. The campgrounds themselves have running water. They're pretty nice campgrounds, but no showers. So keep that in mind as well. So let's jump in and talk about these specific campgrounds. Here's the map of Bryce Canyon. I want to show you where these campgrounds are. And so this is actually not the whole of Bryce Canyon. This road keeps going out for a ways. But this area here that's in the box is the main part of Bryce Canyon. So this is where you'll find the most popular trails down in here. This is the amphitheater, which is that area with all those beautiful hoodoos. And so this is really where most people want to be. This is where you'll find the most activities and things to do. So zooming into this box, you will see, so here's the amphitheater right here with all the hoodoos and the campgrounds. So Bryce Canyon has 2 different campgrounds. You've got the North Campground, which is right over here. This one is really nice. It's right on the edge of the amphitheater. So you're just a short walk over to the rim trail and to Sunrise Point. Some of just the most beautiful views of Bryce Canyon are right outside your door. So that's really nice. If you stay in the North Campground, then you can just walk to the rim from your campsite, and it's in a really awesome location. You'll also notice in the map here that you're pretty close to the general store and the lodge, which is right over here. So the North Campground, as I mentioned, is up here, and you can see this is the rim trail here. So you'll just walk down the road a little ways and cut over to the rim trail, and then you'll be really close to this section of the rim trail and Sunrise Point. You can even walk all the way over to Sunset Point if you want. It just makes it really easy. So you are pretty close to the general store and the lodge. The visitor center is just right across the way here, so it's a really nice location. The North Campground is the bigger and I would say the main campground in Bryce Canyon. This campground stays open year-round. This is where you'll find the dump station for RVs, and it's just a bigger campground. So the North Campground is reservable during about mid-May through October is when you can get reservations for that one. And those reservations go on sale 6 months in advance of the dates that you want to camp. So keep that in mind. You will need to plan ahead a little bit more if you're hoping to stay in the North Campground, because those sites do get snatched up that 6 months in advance when they open up. And I'll walk you through the whole process of doing that here in a minute, but just so you're aware, the North Campground does have a few more amenities. It's closer to the general store, and those reservations open up 6 months in advance. Now, the other campground in Bryce Canyon is the Sunset Campground, which is just right over here. So you can see they're both in just awesome locations. The Sunset Campground is not a year-round campground. You do need to make reservations staying there most of the time. There's a couple weeks at the beginning of the season and the end of the season for the Sunset Campground where it is first come, first serve, but most of the time you'll need a reservation. And I forgot to mention this about the North Campground too, is when it's not the reservation period from May through October, the sites go on a first come, first serve basis, and you just have to show up and snatch those sites. So both of these have first come, first serve options, and they both also require reservations during the busiest time of the year. So the Sunset Campground is located across the park road from Sunset Point. Sunset Point is very popular. This is where you catch the Navajo Loop Trail down through Wall Street, which is right here, which is just an amazing trail. So a lot of people like to be in this area all the time. It's really congested and busy, and so it's nice that the campground's just right over here. Bryce Canyon has a really great shuttle system if you don't want to drive your vehicle everywhere, and the shuttle picks up at both of these campgrounds. So that makes it really nice as well. You can just catch the shuttle from the campground and take it to anywhere around the amphitheater where the shuttle travels. The shuttle also goes into Bryce Canyon City if you want to go to a hotel or a restaurant in there. And so staying at these campgrounds, leaving your car there, and taking the shuttle around is a really nice option. Okay, so as I mentioned, both of these campgrounds are great. You really can't go wrong one over the other. The North Campground, like I said, is a little bit more like the main campground in the park where it has a few more amenities, but the location of both is great. It's just really nice. You can catch the shuttle from there. From both, you're really close to the amphitheater. So it really just depends on what you're able to snatch up reservation-wise, but I would not be too picky about one campground over the other. Now, here are the changes that have been made with the campsite reservation process. So for the North Campground, this campground, when you're trying to make a reservation, you'll still want to make those reservations 6 months in advance. And so you pick your date. If you're going June 2nd or whatever, you are going to want to go back 6 months and make your reservation 6 months before that, to the day. And so if you get on the website, and I'll show you this here in a minute, but you can actually click on the date that you want to make your reservation, and it will tell you when that reservation is going to open up. So it's very competitive. You'll definitely want to put that in your calendar. Make sure you're trying to get that reservation 6 months in advance. The Sunset Campground is where things have changed though. So typically most campsites in the park are 6 months in advance, but Bryce Canyon just changed the Sunset Campground to 14 days in advance. And so you can't book it well in advance to stay in this campground. This is more of a last minute thing, which is nice if you don't know what your plans are, what dates you're going to be able to go. You'll still have some options available to you for reservations in the Bryce Canyon Campground. And so if you go to the Sunset Campground, you'll notice those reservation dates are 14 days in advance. And so you'll just want to make sure that you're ready that 14 days in advance. Those ones are going to be so hard to snatch up because people by that point will know what their plans are. They'll be planning on going. They'll really want to get that campsite. So make sure you get on recreation.gov exactly when they open up at 8 a.m. Make sure you're ready to go. You know which campsites you can go for that will fit your tent or your RV. Just make sure you're ready to go with that. So that's the biggest change that has happened in Bryce Canyon, and in regards to camping, is that the Sunset Campground, as of right now, will be 14 days in advance for reservations. I don't anticipate this changing again anytime soon. I think they'll probably keep it this way. A lot of parks are moving towards having some longer term reservations and some shorter term reservation windows. And so I think they probably will keep it this way for a while, but you'll definitely want to check the NPS site for Bryce Canyon before you go. If you're thinking about going to the park and you're hoping to camp, check and make sure that things haven't changed for your own trip, depending on when you're watching this video, because they are trying out some new things and they're making some adjustments to how reservations are made in the parks right now. So keep that in mind. But as of right now, that is current. The North Campground is 6 months in advance. The Sunset Campground is 14 days in advance. And then each of them also have some windows of time where it's first come, first serve. And in that case, you'll want to show up to the park by about 8 a.m. or so. I probably wouldn't go much later than 8 a.m. to get in there and to snatch up a first come, first serve site. The time has come for me to show you on my computer the entire process for getting a reservation in a campground at Bryce Canyon. So let me show you my screen and I will walk you through how to do this. Okay, so to get your Bryce Canyon camping reservation, you'll want to go to recreation.gov. You do need to make an account to use recreation.gov, and I would recommend doing that at least a day or two before you have to come on and get these reservations. So you'll see I'm logged in, you'll want to be logged in, and then you'll search Bryce Canyon National Park. Okay, and then we'll go to camping and day use, and then it will show you the campgrounds that are available to reserve. And as I said before, the North Campground is kind of the main campground. That's the one we're gonna reserve today. That's the one I want to show you. The Sunset Campground is the one that changed to 14 days in advance. And so this one actually isn't even taking reservations today. We're in the off season. We're not even close to that 14 days in advance window. So I'm not going to show you that one, but we'll go into the North Campground because we are 6 months out from North Campground reservations. Okay, so I'm here at the North Campground and that's where I want to stay. I'm trying to get dates over Memorial Day weekend, which is pretty tricky, but there are some available here. So I put in my dates, and then as you can see, there are a lot that are already reserved. These NRs just mean that they haven't been opened up for reservations yet. So if you click on it, it will tell you what date you'll need to come back to get that reservation. But here's one. This is Loop A. This is a site that is going to work for a travel trailer. And so you can click that A and then click through. Let's go through the whole weekend here. And then I will click add to cart. And you want to add to cart as quickly as possible. That's the trick, because the longer you take to click the add to cart, somebody can come in here and snatch it from underneath you. And so you'll definitely want to click add to cart as quickly as possible. And then what you'll do is you'll come in, you'll make sure all this information is correct. You'll fill it out. Let's see, we have this, I'll just fill this out real quick. You will want to do your research in advance. Definitely don't wait till the day of to decide which site you're gonna go for. I like to go online and check through all the sites and write down a list of ones that will work for what equipment we have, and then I know which sites I can go for the morning of. So you'll read through all of this, say I've read to this, and then proceed to cart. And that will lock it in for you. And so now you have 15 minutes to finish this and to make your payment. But I'm just gonna go back and show you real quick. I wanna show you that process that I would go through before you actually even get to this point. But because it's 8 a.m. and the sites just opened up, I wanted to hurry and snatch one, get it in my cart so I could show you. But what you'll do is, so you'll come back to the campground page, and this is where, so we talked about how loops A and B are for RVs and C and D are tent only. And so you'll want to go through here and check these. You can add filters. I like to do this. I don't want a tent only. We have a RV. You can put in your vehicle length. You can, make it even more specific, but then this will show me what is available to me. FF means first come, first serve. You have to do those in person. My date was May 29th, and I'll just put one night here just to show you. So again, you'll see that all of these are already reserved. Here are the spots that are available for my dates. There's only one, this one. But what you'll want to do is just go through these, especially if it's beforehand and you're like just looking at NRs, which just means that that site is not available yet. They haven't opened it up for reservations yet, and they'll tell you when to come back, 12/1 at 8 a.m. So I know that if I want this site, then I need to be here 12/1 at 8 a.m. to book these dates. But then you can go in, click on the specific site, and that's where you'll take a look at what you are getting. So this is really important. You can see you can have a 25-foot RV in this one. You can see that the width, the length, what the driveway looks like. So all of that is here. So you'll go through this beforehand. Make sure you know which sites are going to work for the equipment that you have. And then you'll go through that reservation process when the site actually opens up. Okay, but I'm jumping back to my cart. So this is the one that I already reserved. I already have it in my cart. I just need to finish the checkout process. So you'll just want to make sure that all of this looks right, that your dates look right, everything looks good, and then you'll proceed to payment. And at this point, you'll put in your payment info, and then that is what will actually reserve the site. So that timer counts down until that payment info goes through. And then at that point, you will have the site. You should get an email verifying that you have the site and also a receipt saying that you paid for it. And that's what you'll bring to the campground when you go. Hopefully by using these tips, you'll be able to get the reservations that you need within Bryce Canyon, or you'll be able to snatch up one of those first come, first serve sites if you're visiting in the off season. But if you're not able to, there are a few other options in the area that I really like that I just wanted to mention real quick. So let's take a look at the map. Here's Bryce Canyon National Park right here. These are like the amphitheater trails and stuff right down in here. So if you're camping in the park, you're going to be in this area. Probably my top option, if you're not able to camp in here, is to go down along Highway 12 over here, and you have what's called Red Canyon. Red Canyon is really cool. It's actually very Bryce Canyon-esque, but smaller. And it's managed by the Forest Service, not the Park Service. So you can have dogs on the trails here. You can have UTVs and ATVs. A lot of them like to use the trails back in here. So it's a really cool area. But Red Canyon also has a campground, and the campground's super nice. It's really a great location. You're only about 10 to 15 minutes away from Bryce Canyon from out here. So that's a really great option. Another option that I really like, it's a little bit further away from Bryce Canyon, but it's a pretty good option, is to go down Highway 12 this way and go down here to Kodachrome Basin. Kodachrome is super cool. It's beautiful. There are some really cool trails here, and there's also a campground. So you can camp in there. That's a really great option as well. You will find paid campgrounds in Bryce Canyon City, this area right here. So if you want to do that, that's fine. There's also some dispersed camping kind of up in this area and down in this area. So if you have something you don't mind not having any facilities or anything like that, you can go dispersed camping, boondocking. A lot of these are free, and so those are some options as well. I like to use the Campendium website to find more information about those boondocking sites. I've found some really great sites using that website when I'm traveling around the national parks and trying to find camping. So there are some options. If you're not able to get into the two campgrounds in Bryce Canyon, you'll still have other options available to you in the area. Hopefully it was helpful to see me go through that process with you. If you have any more questions about camping at Bryce Canyon or things to do, best time to visit, any of that, you can go to dirtandmyshoes.com and select Bryce Canyon, and here you'll find the ultimate trip planning guide for Bryce Canyon. I answer a lot of the commonly asked questions. I will walk you through the best time to visit, the best things to do, where I would stay personally, the areas I like to be in, and things like that. So you'll find all of that at Dirt in My Shoes. You'll also find the Ultimate Trip Planning Guide video here on YouTube, so be sure to watch that for Bryce Canyon and subscribe to get even more information about the parks that you're hoping to visit. I hope that you have a great time on your trip.